Hey folks, it's Brian. Another installment of the Red Book of Magic. Thought I had some more downtime, so let's get some more done. And it looks like after this installment, there's just one more to go. Okay, we're going to be doing M, no N, no O, P, no Q, R, and we're going to skip over to V. And the rest will be S. Okay, Magic Point Enhancement. If you use an object with the ability to store 1d10 magic points per point of power sacrifice. Takes an hour ritual takes a 1 hour ritual per point of permanent power sacrifice. There we go. Okay. So these stored magic points can be used to power or boost spells by anyone who can use. Well, I used it for the wrong word. Who can use the item. What does that mean? I think we referenced this before when we talked about the rune magic version. Obviously, it has to do with possession. I have always, you've got to touch the thing. That's what I've got. So if you put magic points in a crystal in the palm of your sword, I would count that. Grab that necklace. Yeah, you can't use his, though, right? I think that's what we're trying to get across. Okay. They don't regenerate because they don't have characteristic power, so you have to put magic points into it, and it takes a melee round per point to refill it. And again, it has a capacity, and you cannot fill it past that capacity. But as we saw previously, you can cast this again on the same object, another d10, and then fill it up more, right? Okay. Meteor Swarm. 6-point spirit magic spell. Can only be cast by initiates of the Crater Maker's cult. Interesting. It causes stones to fall from the sky. If the casting, so this is your power times 5 roll, is a special success, you hit the target you're targeting, right? On a normal success, the stone lands randomly within 1d6 meters, may actually hit, well, it says here, and it did in another individual, I say, and we may even hit the original individual, right? So, because it's random, not likely, but you could hit him still. Okay. The damage done by the meteor swarm is affected by the cyclic nature of the phase of the moon. That is cool. I like that. And they give you a little table here, right? So if it's the black or dying phase, the meteor swarm only does a d6 of damage. All the way up to, if it's a full moon phase, 12d6 of damage. That's something you can throw at a giant. Okay. The meteors that are summoned are actual moon rocks. And so they become available for summoning moons, later on. You get 1/10 of an encumbrance worth of moon rocks for every 1d6 of damage done on the casting. Interesting. So on a black or dying, it's just 1/10. A full, which is 12d6, that's 12/10, so it's a full plus 2/10 or a fifth. Interesting. Okay. The lunar magic skill Amplify permits one additional meteor to fall for every 3 points used. 3 points of what used? And we have no idea what this Amplify skill actually does or what it's for. I'm assuming it doesn't. Can you boost this thing then? Because it takes 6 points to cast. Does it mean you automatically get 2 more d6? Or 2 more meteors? Because you're casting 6 points to begin with? And if you boost it with 3 more magic points, they give us a third? Not sure what they really mean to get here. Otherwise, I would have said the Lunar Magic Skill of Amplify adds 2 additional meteors to this fall. And maybe put a thing, can be boosted. 1 additional meteor for every 3 points, every 3 magic points. Yeah, not very clear. Okay. Mobility doubles the movement of the target. And I saw a lot of this in my last game. Doubling your mobility is intense because it's not going from mobility of 8 to 16 because there's 12 strike ranks, right? It goes 8, 3 meters, 8, 6 meters. That's significant. Okay. And reduces your strike rank by 1. Now, when I was playing with my baboons, I had assumed that -1 strike rank dealt with, a dexterity thing. So if your dex strike rank is 2, and you cast mobility, your dex strike rank becomes 1, right? And I've got people in the party who've got both mobility and coordination going on. And coordination specifically reduces your dex strike rank by 1. But their total strike rank is going down by 2. Which is fine, specifically since the mobility is simply outright reduces their strike rank by 1, period. So if you've got dex strike rank of 0, and a side strike rank of 2, and a broadsword strike rank of 2, you are hitting on 3. Interesting. That does add a new factor to this. Okay. Primarily used by intelligent hunters on themselves or animals, also cast on elite cavalry to give them increased shock value, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Multi-missile. Each point casts upon a missile, and they give example, arrows, bolts, stones, javelins, etc. Creates an additional magical, it doesn't say additional, it says an additional magical missile at the instant the original is launched or fired. These magical missiles do the same damage as the original missile, and each missile, the original plus all magical ones, have to be rolled for their attack skill separately. The first roll is always for the original because that can impale or crush if you're using a sling stone. Or a rock, I guess, throwing a rock. That would do a crush as well. But the magical missiles, they can't. They don't impale. However, they can do critical damage. And a factor of critical damage is they do special damage bypassing armor. Does it just bypass the armor, which would be duh? Or does this mean that they actually can do special damage? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Okay, larger missiles like ballista bolts and stuff take higher levels of multi-missile because it's a variable spell. Okay. For example, an arbalist takes 2 points of this spell per missile. And they give it as a rule of thumb, for every 2d6 or fraction thereof of damage requires 1 point of multi-missile. So if you do 3d6 damage, you're going to take 3. No, it's going to take 2. And that's what the arbalist thing was, right? Yep, okay. Now, this goes on to say that this spell can be cast upon a missile. Can we see that in the very first line of each point of the spell cast upon a missile? And then they got a colon, so I'm not sure exactly what this is supposed to mean, but it goes on here. The spell only works once, right? So if you cast it on your arrow and you don't use it for the duration of the spell, it goes away. Now, if you cast it on your arrow and you fumble your roll, it falls to the ground, the multi-missile went with it. Or if you cast it on the spell, just hold on to it. Again, it doesn't. The spell fails, right? Well, at that point, it doesn't really fail. It's about failing if the missile is not loose for like a fumble, drop weapon, broken bowstring, etc., that kind of stuff. Although broken bowstring is not on the fumble chart, the spell will fail because the missile was technically launched, right? Okay. Again, spell is incompatible with speed dart or fire arrow. Fire arrow, I understand, although the original missile should still be on fire if it's a fire arrow. It just doesn't do fire arrow damage for the others. I can understand that. Why not speed dart? I still don't get that. Well, I should take it back because speed dart is on the original missile. The magical ones appear after the speed dart's been cast. I would. Paul Malt's Touch, new spell. Increases the target's chance to succeed in casting spirit magic by 5% per point. That's kind of cool. Parry. This spell works on any shield. Not only on any shield, but on any shield. So you could cast parry onto your sword. You wouldn't want to, though. We'll get to that in a second. Okay. Each point increases the wielder's chance to parry with that shield by 5%. Now I ask the question, what about damage done to an attacking weapon when you do a special parry? Does it not do extra damage then too? Why is this one different than all the other buffing type spells? Now, okay, can you use bludgeon on your shield? Shield does blunt damage. You can use a bludgeon. Bludgeon adds 5% per point to your skill with the seals, with the weapon, in the case of shield, right? And a shield and all weapons just have a weapon skill. We don't have attack and parry anymore. It's just skill. Yeah. I can see them wanting to put this in here for shields, but I'll just teach them bludgeon. And if they're fast enough, they can attack with a sword and punch with their shield, do a knockback kind of thing. I don't know. Because you can. You can attack with a sword and a shield in the same round. Okay. Preserve herbs. New spell. Allows caster preserve 1 day's worth of healing plants found for one person. What's that supposed to mean? And the plants maintain their potency for the rest of the season. Okay. The 1 day's the 1-man day. 1-man day of finding. That's what it comes down to. So if you got 5 guys out and we all find stuff, it's only 1 guy's worth of stuff that's found. It can be preserved. Or you need to cast 5 different castings of preserve herbs. Okay, now I'm checking that out. And it's special because it lasts just for the rest of the season. So you want to cast the sucker at the beginning of the season, certainly not on the last day. Okay. Protection. Each point of spell adds 1 point of armor protection to the whole body or object. However, that's me. However, it acts in every way like normal armor, not natural armor. We ran into this issue not last night, 2 nights ago with my game, where there was a critical success on, so we had protection up. Does the protection protect? Well, let's read the spell. And we pulled it out. We read it. And it acts in every way like normal armor, so it doesn't protect against criticals. Criticals bypass protection. Again, incompatible with counter magic, shimmer, and spirit screen. I'm not sure why. Unless it's some kind of play balance thing that you can't protect yourself against multiple forms of attack. That's the only thing I can think of. Okay. Repair. Repairs broken objects, right? All the parts have to be present. Fixes 1d10 points of damage to the item's hit points. If it has hit points. If it doesn't have hit points, it just fixes it. The object will show a scar. And its maximum hit point value will be reduced permanently by 1 point. Now this begs the question of what about the end of year phase when we do Sacred Time and all of your weapons and armor are repaired? I'm assuming that means physical reparations, which means it will go back up to normal. That's how I would handle it. Okay, when used on magic items, that does not return any broken enchantments or released spirits. Well, okay. I agree with that. River Eyes. Self spell, right? Allows the user, the caster, to see through water as if he's looking through the air, and vice versa. Which means he's looking through the air as if he's going through water. So if you're looking through the water, it eliminates all reflections and refractions. So if you're looking through air, you're going to have all kinds of reflections and refractions. And that'd be hard to translate for people, but you can do that. Okay. Now, if the water is murky, your vision is murky. Just like if the air is cloudy, it's cloudy. Or foggy, smoky, whatever. Because this spell does not render the medium, whether it's water or air, transparent. The transparency is the part of the medium. Okay. We're going to skip over S and go right to V. Vigor. This spell adds 3 points of constitution to the target, just like coordination, and 3 points of dexterity. And for that matter, charisma and 8 points of charisma. Or glamour. Glamour, 8 points of charisma. Okay. It increases the target's hit points by 3 points because your constitution went up by 3 points. Got it. Adds 1 hit point to each location because every 3 is a new category of hit point location damage. Okay, good to go. Also increases your maximum encumbrance. Doesn't specify why or how much. Doesn't specify how much. It says it increases your maximum encumbrance because your encumbrance is based upon the average of your strength and constitution no higher than strength. So it may not increase your maximum encumbrance. if your constitution is already higher than your strength. How about may? Vigor may also increase the maximum encumbrance. And vigor is incompatible with strength. Why? It's not incompatible with coordination or glamour. What's so special about strength and constitution that they have to be tied together, whereas strength or constitution and dexterity aren't? Now, we could talk about old RQ2, where strength, constitution, and size were all tied together and were limited by themselves. In which case, I could say, okay, yeah, anything that affects one of those is limited to not affecting others. Maybe, I don't know. Again, not my Glorantha. Okay, visibility. This spell can only be cast on creatures in the spirit world. It transports that creature from the spirit world to the middle world, where we are. It has a translucent sort of shape that's formed when it was alive. Right? The target spirit can still, I don't know why it wouldn't, but it can still cast spells and otherwise interact with the mundane world, which I assume is the middle world, since they use two different words for the same thing in the same paragraph, and is subject to spells. Just like anything in the middle world, when spirits manifest, you can interact with them. Okay. Normal weapons do not affect such creatures. Is that only creatures that are brought by visibility? Or it's by spirit world creatures that are brought in any form to the middle world? Because elementals are spirit world creatures that are brought to the middle world through a summoning. That's my thought process on why elementals are only hurt by magic. Also lets them last longer. Okay. The spell is not subject to the normal rules for dispel magic, neutralize magic, or dismiss magic. In other words, if somebody casts visibility on a spirit, brings it over, casting dispel magic or neutralize or dismiss on the spirit will not transport it back to the spirit world. That makes sense to me. I can see that because the magic's already been cast. It's not like the magic's holding it here, is it? It's got a duration, right? Yeah, it does. So it'll hold it here for 2 minutes. So why does not one of these things send it back? Now I've got a question. Okay, next installment will be the last one. It will be S spells, and we will be done with the Red Book of Magic. Happy gaming.